This is it, everyone. 19 weeks of racing have all led up to this moment right here. It is the One-Up Nitro National Series regular season finale at the famed Bristol Motor Speedway. This high-banked half-mile oval provides plenty of action over these 125 laps. We'll see at the end of the day which 12 drivers will lay claim to a championship. Will be able to contend for a championship at race's end. And alongside me in the booth today, as always, is Duke Ansack. Well, you got one car locked in, one trying to make his way in. The pressure's got to be mounting for these guys, especially with everything on the line and so much up for grabs.
Oh, absolutely. The pressure is as high as it's been all season for these guys. It's make or break mode. If you don't make the playoffs today, then you're gonna have to wait a whole nother season to have another shot at making the playoffs. So the pressure is absolutely incredible, and you're absolutely right. One of my cars is one of the cars that we're gonna be watching a lot today because right on the bubble, only 11 points above that cut line to making the playoffs. So anything can happen here at Bristol. It's the last great Coliseum. It's a fantastic racetrack, but it can lead to a lot of accidents. And if you get stuck on the outside lane, you're going to fall back a little bit. So there's going to be a lot of things and a lot of factors that lead into who is able to make it into the championship. But every position is a point. So every position matters, and especially those top three positions. So you want to be in the top three at the end of this race if you want to have a shot at making it into the playoffs.
Looking at the starting lineup, on pole position is Ryan Caggiano. This has been his best racetrack on the schedule. He's had a top 5 here in the spring, and he has a couple of good runs in the Superstar Series here as well. He's pulling double duty this weekend and will start this race on pole position. And Felix Anderson is one of the drivers that needs to have a very good run here today to make the playoffs. He starts on the outside of the front row, with Jared Polanski dipping down to the Nitro National Series starting in third. Zach Rogers fourth, and Aaron Hall, another driver who needs a good run to make the playoffs, will round out the top 5. Alex Verget-Berube and Sam Donotto enter this race 7 points apart in their battle for the regular season championship. Alex starts 7th, Donotto 11th. So Alex is gonna have the advantage at the start, but I imagine Sam Donotto is a threat everywhere we go.
Absolutely, and the thing for Alex today in that 3 car is he's just kind of finish somewhere where he can see that 00 car. He can't finish in third if Sam Donotto wins, then he'll lose that regular season title. But if he finishes one position behind, no matter where they are in the grid, then he's going to have that title locked up. So we'll see how it goes, but it's going to be a really fascinating race to watch. So many different battles, so many different things that have so much meaning for this season, all happening at the same time on one track for one final time in the regular season.
So, with 6 drivers with a shot who are already locked into the championship hunt, and 12 more trying to join them, this is going to be an electric race. The grid is all lined up. We're ready to bring you the action, and the One-Up Nitro National Series regular season finale is up next. The hype is real. Stay tuned. The green flag is next. So much on the line in this race. 125 laps to come. Ryan Caggiano and Felix Anderson lead them off 4, and the green flag is out. We are underway in the regular season finale at Bristol Motor Speedway. Caggiano gets a good run through turns 1 and 2. Anderson has to back off a little bit. That lets Polanski get alongside him for second. But Caggiano's got a massive lead already coming through 3 and 4. He'll have about a half second's lead already as they're side by side for second to complete lap number 1.
Yeah, and of course that inside lane is going to be dominant starting this race and then probably throughout as well. Don't anticipate any pit stops today, so it's all going to be about making sure that you can save your tires all the way to the end of this thing, unless of course there's a caution in which you can come in and switch it up, but then there's more strategy introduced. So right now, looks like that 87 really working on the outside, trying to stay ahead of this 18 car. 18's going to slide up, and then he's going to be clear going into the next corner right here. Oh, maybe not. The 87's coming back. This is an incredible battle from the outside lane, but it's just not going to hold up for Felix Anderson very much longer. And here's Alex in the 3 car, our championship points leader, sitting here looking good right now with 00 in the rear view mirror. It's exactly where he wants him to be. And then right behind him, his teammate also trying to pass Felix Anderson here, working on trying to maintain that playoff spot. doing a really good job so far, only 6 laps into this race.
Remember, for Anderson and for Ironhouse, their whole season is on the line in this race, as is Aaron Hall in the 7. He needs to finish right where he's at right now. He's got a fairly good points cushion, but he can't afford to have any accidents plague his afternoon or evening at Bristol Motor Speedway. But look at Ryan Caggiano's lead. It's only been 7 laps. He's already built up a 2-second lead, and at Bristol Motor Speedway, that is an eternity at this half-mile track. It's already up to 2 seconds. And he's going to catch the back end of the field before long, before most of the field even had time to get going.
For sure, you know, I mean, I think that part of it had to do with the fact that Jared Polanski was back there battling with Felix Anderson for so long. But you know, the 81 is still pulling away a little bit here, so we'll see if anybody's able to catch him once he gets to traffic. That's going to be a whole new ball game once he gets there.
And those cars will be a lot slower than Caggiano probably would have hoped to come across. You can see it's an over 2-second lead for Ryan Caggiano, and like I said, at Bristol, that is a lot of time. Yeah, I'll let you continue.
It absolutely is. It's mind-boggling. You know, only 11 laps in. It's just something that you don't see very often. Somebody pulling away that far on cars that are all staying close together right now behind him. You know, and here's that 3 car. He's had a good start to this race. He started in 7th. He's up to 4th. Same with the 8 car, started 10th. He's right behind in 5th now. Everybody that kind of started on the bottom there is looking really good. They all ended up moving forward in this thing, but all of them are falling to the grasp of the 81 car right now. It's really far ahead.
But ever since the gap stretched to 2 seconds, it's kind of stabilized there for the time being. Of course, that could be Caggiano just getting a feel for the racetrack right now, because we can see at the top of the screen, yeah, it's still staying at about two full seconds. But as we look back at Sam Denotto, he needs to beat this 3 car by a big margin if he has any hope of taking the regular season championship, and with it, those 5 bonus points that come with winning that regular season crown. But Denotto currently runs in 6th. That would put him 2nd to Alex Vergepper in 3. And Denotto's teammate, Aaron Hall, running very solidly right now in the 3rd position right now. That would get him 40 points, and that would put him into the playoffs if it were to end right now. Of course, there's only 16 laps in. We still got plenty of racing left to go. 110 laps to go, actually. So there's plenty of time for things to happen, and plenty of time for accidents to cause cars to fall by the wayside here at Bristol.
For sure, you know, and I'm actually not too worried about Aaron Hall in this race, you know, just because he was 40 points ahead of that cut line, and unless he has something catastrophic happen today, he's really just got to finish within the front half of the field, and he's going to be fine, at least I believe. You know, and he's having a really good run right now, and I don't think that that's going to hurt him at all. But here we are. It's the 81 has caught 2 wide traffic ahead of him. This is surely going to slow him down. Look at that mess of cars ahead. This is going to be absolutely wild to navigate. We'll see how much time he's going to lose. I have a feeling those guys behind him are going to catch up in a hurry.
We'll see the gap. Yep, the gap went down by 0.4 of a second that lap. As he laps John McFadden, now AJ Jones, and Zachary DeLillo, who, this is a bit of a surprise. He had such a good run at Darlington last week, finishing in the top 10 there. But a poor qualifying effort at Bristol to spell the beginning and the end for his playoff hopes. And Zachary DeLillo, if he has already fallen a lap down on just lap 21, his hopes for making the 1-Up Nitro National Series playoffs will have to wait another year. But he's done such a good job this season already. 2 top 10s, a top 5 at Pittsburgh earlier this season. So plenty to smile about for that Team Dayspring organization. They'll have at least 2 new drivers for next season, along with DeLillo, and they're just going to have a lot of forward momentum heading into 2022. Even if they don't make the playoffs this time around, which I doubt they will, but DeLillo's still going to give it everything he's got as he fights with AJ Jones for a 40th position.
Yeah, he was pushing on the outside pretty hard right there. I mean, you can see how loose they get through the corner. They're just trying to, oh my goodness, save it, went really wide right there. Now all the leaders are coming by on the inside, so he's going to have to get used to that outside lane for a while because he's going to be up there for a significant amount of time. And meanwhile, the leader's gap has fallen to 1.5 seconds, so a half second has been shaved off of that just because of lap traffic. He's stuck behind that 88 car right now. We'll see if it changes here. Yep, 1.36 now is the gap, just because everybody's starting to work through traffic, and whoever gets through the traffic better is really going to be the one who wins this race, I believe. And right now the 81 is still stuck behind that 88 car. Let's see, he's going to sneak.
Oh, that was close between Caggiano and Dixon in the 88. That was almost a wreck. And that is, even though Caggiano's already locked into the playoffs, he'd like to go into them with some forward momentum, and that's almost was a disaster for the 81. But he's kept the lead for the time being, and he's got a lot of traffic ahead of him. He's just lapped Kyle Corbett, therefore ending the 86's hopes of making the championship round, as he's still trying to get around this 88 of David Dixon. Of course, the driver who held up the traffic in the spring race here, TJ Murray, is no longer in the field, so someone has to take up the mantle, and it looks like David Dixon tried it for a little while, but just not enough in the end. As Caggiano still has to navigate the traffic, looks like they're going to try and go 3 wide behind him, not going to work out.
This is an absolute hornet's nest of traffic right here. It's still so early in the race. Everybody is right with each other here at Bristol, and the leader is just right in the middle of it. You see the 6 getting way wide and loose. Everybody's moving out of the way, thinking they're going to wreck. I mean, we saw the 81. I mean, he's the leader of the race, and he almost turned David Dixon right into the inside wall there. So that, I mean, this is absolutely incredible. Meanwhile, that pink 18 car back there, he's starting to chop that gap down a little bit. He's getting through traffic a little bit better than the 81. And he's just moving right along. He's going to be at the back bumper of Ryan Caggiano here before long, I think.
Yeah, he's still trying to get around Logan Williams in this one car. Of course, Williams out of the playoff hunt, but still trying to get some forward momentum before he makes the move to Moto Dash Racing for 2022. But Caggiano is just drilling his back bumper, trying to get around. The gap between Caggiano and Polanski has sort of stabilized at about 1.3 seconds. So Polanski's having a bit of a hard time getting through the traffic as well.
Something interesting about Polanski's situation right now is that not only is he on the offense trying to get through this traffic, but he's also got to be on the defense. He doesn't want Aaron Hall to pass him. He doesn't want to open up the door for anybody else that's back there to potentially get by him for position. That would be really bad for the 18 car and his running order in this race. So, you know, he's kind of playing both sides of the ball here. He's on the offense and the defense, trying to get through the traffic. And meanwhile, here's the 7 car in the same situation effectively, because he's got Jared Polanski right in front of him. He's following him through traffic, trying to get by him at some point, and he's also got to play defense, make sure the points leader doesn't get by him. He's sitting right there behind in that black Chevy Camaro. So we'll see what happens here if these guys are able to track down the leader and get through traffic a little bit better. But they're having to face all the same challenges that the 81 faces. So theoretically, it'll even out essentially, but or eventually in this race, it'll even out with the traffic and stuff. But you know, it never seems to work out like that. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. And we're only 40 laps into this thing. Plenty of racing still left.
Exactly, and Alex just made a dive on Aaron Hall. That's for, a slide from the 7 coming through turn 2. That's going to open the door for Alex to get through. Will Sam Donato follow him through? I don't think Aaron Hall is going to give his teammate much trouble in getting around, because Hall really just needs to finish up in the top 10, 15 cars, and he'll be racing for a championship. But these two are already locked in, and their battle is for the regular season championship. So Sam Donato still playing on the offense right now, trying to get around Alex. Oh, he goes up high, and that's going to allow Aaron Hall to get underneath him once again, this time for 4.
Wow, he almost got blocked by that 27. Now he's stuck behind him, and here comes the 7 on the inside. There's nothing the 00 could do right there, and this is exactly what the 00 did not want. He wanted to stay right behind that 3 car, and he's going to get passed by his teammate here, and then maybe more.
Yeah, and that includes Zachary DeLello, who's a lap car, but still apparently finding speed in that 03 as Elijah Ironhouse follows him through. So Donato's starting to fall back a little bit, but not quite what he wants, but there's still plenty of time in this race for anything to happen. Because like we always say, anything can happen in these races, and it usually does. So The One-Ups Nitro National Series regular season finale has 80 laps to go, and it's only a matter of time before we see some high-octane action, as it looks like Kyle Waters had an issue on pit road. He's now 4 laps down. So, thankfully, Waters is not running for the championship in this series, so he can afford that. It's just he just came here for extra track time with a superstar race tomorrow night. It's just a shame to see it end so early. Helps end so early for him. But looking at that gap between Caggiano and Polanski, the gap's back up to 2.2 seconds. So you can see Caggiano has a lot of clear track ahead of him, while Polanski's dealing with some heavy traffic here.
Yeah, it looks like the 81 has found a little bit of gap in the traffic here. I don't know if it just happens to be the difference of faster cars and slower cars or what it is, but there's a big gap in the field right where he is right now. So he's just kind of able to set some qualifying laps right now. He's catching the 73. He's going to have to work by him, but then of course there's plenty of track just ahead of the 73 as well that he can gain some time. So he's gotten that gap up to almost 3 seconds now, which is impressive. The biggest gap we've seen today. And I do want to mention the fact that Ryan Caggiano leading so much of this race is really good for Alex in the 3 car, because if he takes that the most laps led bonus point in this race by default, then it means that if Alex finishes second in this race to Sam Denotto, there's no way that Sam Denotto could even tie the points, because he wouldn't be able to get that extra bonus point. So this is playing into the hands of the 3 car at the moment. And of course, he's also plenty of positions ahead of the 00, but like you said, plenty of racing left, and we'll see how it plays out. But this is so far so good for the 3 car.
Lap 52 of 125 right now, and Ryan Caggiano holds a 2.8 second lead over Jared Polanski's team owner. There you see Kyle Waters in the 62 after his pit adventure. He's now 4 laps down, about to go 5 down here to Ryan Caggiano, but he's still stuck behind Eric Monaco in the 73, and just ahead of them, Miles Mashburn in the 66. Jared Jackson in the 23. He's, of course, locked into the championship, but still, he'd have wanted to go into the playoffs with some momentum, not on the tail end of the lead lap like this.
Absolutely. You know, it's a little bit surprising from that 23 car as well. You know, just usually that car is up front fighting for a top 5 position in these races, and then of course today it's not quite looking like that. But this traffic right now for the 81 is just as bad as it was when he first got the traffic. Look at that, they're too wide, scattering all over the place. It's Keon Daly right there in the 52, who is also in danger of losing a playoff position. He's in the wall he just hit right there. So, you know, he wants to be he wants to finish about the 40th or better in this race, but you know, like, you gotta be careful. You gotta finish this race in that 52 car to be able to make it into the playoffs.
In order to finish first, you must first finish. That's a racing mentality that's been around for a long time, and I'm sure Keon Daly has to keep that in mind if he wants to race for a championship. He had a good lead over the cut line, but anything can happen at Bristol Motor Speedway as we enter lap 59 of 125. If Ryan Caggiano can lead for another 4 more laps, he will lock up the point for most laps led, and that will put a lot of burden off of Oxford Rubin the 3, who has now gotten around Jared Polanski for the 2nd position, and Aaron Hall's following him through. So bump the 18 back to 4th now in this race.
Yeah, you know, and we've been talking to, you know, in team meetings and stuff this week, and that 3 car, that whole team, they just kind of decided that this race, it's not really a must-win, but they figure the best way to lock up that championship, the regular season championship, is to just win the race, you know? So it makes complete sense. If you just go out there and win the race, then nobody can get more points than you. So that's what he's out there doing right now. He's sitting there in 2nd place. He's gotten by so many cars in this race so far. He started in 7th. It wasn't the greatest starting spot, but he was on the inside. He gained positions there, and now he's driven by some guys, and he's tracking down the 81 car.
And right now, that 81 is still stuck behind Eric Monaco, and look at all the traffic ahead of him. It's going to take a lot for him to get through this lap traffic, including a couple of cars like David Dixon, you see in the 88, about to go a 2nd lap down. So a lot. Oh, and we've got trouble on the back straightaway. Ooh, that was close for Caggiano. Jake McMillan's involved, as well as Francois Chastain. The caution flag will undoubtedly come out for this. Kyle Corbett into the outside wall. The caution is out for this accident. Keith Hughes looked like he got some damage, but
Boy, oh boy.
on John McFadden, his race is over. You can see the smoke coming out of that 27 car. He was running at the back of the pack anyway, but this will spell the beginning of the end for John McFadden on lap 65. So, not the way his race wanted to go. Chastain's race is over. What a situation we have going on here.
Boy, and that was so close for the leaders. They were right there, and it even looked like the 81 might have gotten a little bit of damage in that accident. We'll see, as it was almost like a second wave he had to get through.
Yeah, Earl Sears got some damage as well. Elijah Ironhouse actually on pit road. Something must be wrong with the 8 car. And Santiago Alvarez got some damage on that. He's on pit road, so that spells the end of his hopes. Felix Anderson on pit road as well. Maybe he ran over something. He wants a fresh set of tires. This will put a severe dent into his hopes of racing for a championship. He's still on pit road. I believe he's going to go a lap down here to the race leaders.
Gosh, him and Ironhouse both, if they were both on pit road, they were both only 1 point apart. Not on the cut line, but 11 and 12 above it. So
this is where Francois Chastain was running. He was running about mid-pack with Chris Lattimore, Keith Hughes. And I think Chastain just runs high. He gets into Hughes, and McMillan gets a piece. Casey Cooper gets a piece. And look at how close Ryan Caggiano came down. Oh, Logan Williams involved in that as well. Gets hit by McFadden there.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and Williams is upside down. And Aaron Hall was involved in that accident as well.
Ironhouse all in it. Oh my goodness.
Man, oh man, that was a hard hit for Logan Williams. I really want to see what happened to this one car at the end when this is all said and done. So Williams was running fairly far behind this. He just, I guess, couldn't get slowed down enough. He's trying to go to the bottom to avoid it, but Chastain was just parked there, and then Sear just knocks him up onto his roof. This is not what Logan Williams wanted, but thankfully he lands on his wheels. He'll be okay after that, but his hopes of winning this race are gone. And just like that, we've got 1 lap to go to the restart. Caggiano is still leading, but look at all the lap cars to his inside, and including Felix Anderson critically in the 87. He's back in 35th position, 1 lap down. His hopes for a championship are hanging on by a thread right now.
Yeah, that's going to be really, really fascinating to see what happens. This is going to be a crazy restart. And that 18 car, I believe, has damage on both the front and the rear end of that car. He got hit, he smashed into a car in front of him and then got hit by the 8 as he slowed down. So the 81, oh, the 3 is in the wall.
He's gonna get into the wall. That's gonna allow Aaron Hall to his inside for second position. Alex needs to be careful. He can't afford too many more knocks like that. Otherwise, Sam Donotto could come blazing past in a hurry. Though Donotto is still on the outside line as well. Look at him fan out down the back straightaway.
Gosh, what an inopportune moment for that 3 car. You know, he hasn't run on the outside all night. He's been glued on the inside lane. He hasn't had to go up there, and now all of a sudden he's out there with colder tires on a dirty racetrack, and he nailed the wall coming out of the corner, and he's down to 3rd. It looks like he's going to be okay, but that's a dangerous, dangerous game to play for the points leader right there. And of course the 81, once again, is just driving away from the field.
He's led over half the race already, and there you see Alex Vijay under fire from A.J. Jones. And Aaron Hall's trying to get through this lap traffic in a big hurry, because if Caggiano faces a problem with lap traffic ahead of him, that'll allow Hall to close right back in and be in prime position for his 3rd win of the season, matching his teammate for the most all time. But right now, it just looks like Hall's running a bit too far back to mount a challenge, as we got another caution on the racetrack. This one involving Keith Hughes and Sam Joseph in the 76, it appears. So, Keith Hughes was another one of those cars on the playoff cut line, so.
It was plus 30 going into this race. We'll see how that impacts his chances. You know, he was in a pretty safe spot, safer than most, but you know, this is really interesting. And here we've got the pace car coming into the pit lane.
No, he pulls back out because he was trying to see where the leader was. He was right behind. So the pace car picks up Ryan Caggiano, right ahead of Alexa Lutchen and Zachary DeLillo, the first 2 cars 1 lap down. Then it's Aaron Hall in 2nd. So here's Keith Hughes. He was running alongside Mark Davey in the mid-pack. And, oh, it was his teammate, Kenneth Grant, who got loose. That's going to be an awkward team meeting for them to navigate. Albeit, there's not much that Grant could have done there because Santiago Alvarez was already loose outside of him. So this will put a figurative and literal dent into Keith Hughes' chances to make the playoffs. But there's still plenty of time in this race. He's only got minor damage, so as of right now, he's still on the lead lap and in fairly good position here.
Yeah, you know, I think that that's going to be manageable as long as he can stay out there, finish this race on the lead lap or close to it. Keith Hughes is going to be okay, especially because some of those people that he's trying to race with have also had problems today.
Yeah, certainly. And we've got some laps left under caution, so Ryan Caggiano continues to lead the way. We have 37 cars on the racetrack right now, 5 out of the race as a result of that first caution. 27 cars on the lead lap, the last of which being Keith Hughes after that accident. So we got plenty of action left to come. We still got about just under 50 laps to go. And with Ryan Caggiano leading the way, Aaron Hall second, Alex Vergepru third, Zach Rogers, Nicky Martinez in the top 5. This will help her chances of making the playoffs in a big way. Christian Russell's right behind her in 6th. That'll certainly help him. So the playoff cut line might shuffle quite a bit here.
Absolutely. Both of those two, they were the first ones that were below the cut line. They were -6 and -9 going into this race on that cut line. And the two people that they were trying to beat, not including Brett Bishop, have had problems in this race. That could allow them to get up there and be in the playoffs before it's all said and done. It's just going to be a matter of finishing in the positions that they're running right now or better.
So the pace car pulling on the pit road, it leaves us in the hands of Ryan Caggiano, Aaron Hall, Alex Vergepru, Zach Rogers, and the rest of the top 10. Green flag is back out. We're underway once again. But this time, Ryan Caggiano doesn't get the restart he hoped for because Luchin and DeLello are right to his inside. They're both going to get past. So now this is going to be a big trouble for Ryan Caggiano because now he's going to have to deal with that lap traffic for a lot longer and a lot sooner than he anticipated.
Yeah, it's going to be a matter of who can get to the bottom first of the lead lap cars, and it will be the 81 immediately as I say that. So he's going to follow these guys into the sunset, it looks like, those two lappers that are just ahead of him, because everybody else he's racing against are still stuck on the outside lane. Look at this. Aaron Hall just barely, he's not able to clear yet. Oh, and it's not going to happen. He's still stuck on the outside lane with the lappers on the inside. This is such a fascinating way to restart races with those guys in the preferred lane, those lappers. And then we have the lead lap cars trying to get them on the outside. There goes the 7 car up ahead. And in third place is now the 25. At least it was of the last time it went by.
It still is Nicky Martinez in the 25. This will gain her 40 points, and that'll be huge when it comes to the playoffs. There you see her in the brown number 25 back in your shot. But right now, Martinez is in a very good position to make the playoffs right now because a lot of her competitors have had issues. Felix Anderson, Elijah Ironhouse have both had problems. Ironhouse is on the tail end of the lead lap. Anderson's a lap down already.
Yeah, so those two are really not having great days anymore. And the 25 is absolutely seizing the opportunity, you know, running right here behind this lap car in an unsponsored Dodge sandwich right now with the 77 and the 88 in the front and behind. But, you know, it's looking really good for that 25 car because she's got plenty of space right now, plenty of positions she could lose if need be before she gets knocked back out of the playoffs. So I think that 25 car is looking really, really good right now.
Yeah, Aaron Hall currently runs in the second position. He's got about a second's gap to Ryan Caggiano with no cars in between. So Hall can start putting solid laps down, and we'll see if he can close in on this 81 or not. Let's see what the gap is at the line. He gained a couple hundredths there. It's down to 1 second, so we will see what happens here. But right now, it just appears that Ryan Caggiano, barring any further incident, has this race.
Yeah, and you know, things can change very quickly in this race. I mean, we've seen it already today. The 3 car was looking really, really good in this race, and you know, he was running in second place. We thought maybe that he was going to be the only guy that could chase down that 81 in traffic to try to pass and take the win away. But then he hits the wall after a restart, and all of a sudden he's back down to 6th place. I saw he just had gotten up into 6th from being in 7th. So, you know, this is things can change very rapidly. And of course, same with the 8 car and the 87 of Felix Anderson. You know, they both were having really good days. They were sitting there looking really good to make the playoffs, and then all of a sudden there's one accident, nowhere to go. You smash into it, and you're sitting there looking at being a lap down. So it's just a fascinating thing. This racetrack will throw curveballs at you just like that so quickly, and we'll see what happens at the end of this race, because it is not over until it's over.
Closing in on 30 laps to go from Bristol, Ryan Caggiano's lead is down to 9/10 of a second. Ahead of Aaron Hall, Nicky Martinez has fallen back to about 3 seconds back. I don't think anybody else will be a factor in this race besides Hall and Caggiano. These will be the 2 drivers battling it out for victory here at Bristol. Caggiano's led all 94 laps so far. Be interesting to see if Hall can catch him. We'll see what happens, because another phrase we always like to say in these series, catching cars is one thing. Passing them, whole nother story, especially at a tight short track like this.
Oh, you're absolutely right, you know. And that 81 car right now, he's been stuck behind the 03 of Zachary DeLello for the whole run so far since the restart. I mean, you remember him and Alexa Lutchen were able to get ahead of the leader, and now they've just kind of stayed there. You know, they're the ones that are going to be getting to the traffic first. They're the ones that are slowing down this 81 car. But they're just fast enough that the 81 can't quite get by, even though he's been dominating this whole race. So we'll see if the 7 car has anything for him while he's still stuck behind these lappers.
Yeah, and these are not slow lap cars at all, so DeLello and Lutchen are fairly quick, at least matching the leader's pace. So this might not actually hurt the 81 as badly as it could have. If these cars were much slower lap cars and the 81 was stuck behind them, that could have allowed Hall to close in a little faster, but these cars are keeping pace. So Caggiano can at least run behind them steadily. That the gap looks like it should be coming down, and it is. It's down to 3/4 of a second. You can see Hall in the back of your shot in the pink and blue Toyota behind him. So Caggiano doesn't have this race locked up quite yet. We still have 25 laps to go, and anything can still happen in this race.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and I just feel like that 81 car, I mean, every single run so far, he's gotten out to, you know, 2, 3, 4 seconds ahead almost immediately, we've seen. But this so far, he's been held up by the 03 car significantly in this run, and he is getting run down by Aaron Hall. Aaron Hall smells blood in the water right now. That's what it is. He's not thinking about the playoffs. He's thinking about that 3rd win.
And Ryan Caggiano is just cruising out ahead, even though the gap is shrinking a little bit. And as you can see, they're starting to catch slower lap cars like Santiago Alvarez in the 98. So with Caggiano starting to lap cars, here comes Hall in the 7. The gap is down to about a third of a second now. Hall just needs to get around this lap car of Alvarez really quickly, which he does, and that's just going to allow Hall to start closing the gap in once again. We've got 20 laps to go now from Bristol.
Yeah, you know, and this is a really fascinating situation for Aaron Hall, because if he gets a 3rd win, he'll have more wins on the season than our points leader in the 3 car. So that's got to be something he wants to take into the playoffs, thinking, oh yeah, you know, this 7 car, I might not have been here the whole season, but man, am I fast, you know. So that's just one of those things, and he is closing in. We haven't seen anybody this close to the leader Ryan Caggiano all day today.
Yeah, but it looks like he's starting to lose a bit of that gap back. It's now up to half a second again. So Caggiano is just chilling out behind DeLello right now. DeLello grateful to even be on the lead lap at this point. But Aaron Hall, he really needs to start picking it up and laying him down, because the gap is still half a second, and we're closing in on the end of this race.
Gosh, and every single time I see this 81 car right by that 03, they're so close from hitting each other and wrecking. And look at that, the 7 car right on the bumper of the 81 now.
And they're coming up to lap Sam Joseph in the 76, who gets really loose ahead of the leaders. They both managed to clear him fairly easily. Hall still needs to get around him. It looks like he will, but that's going to cost him time. And now with 15 laps to go, Ryan Caggiano still has a 3/4 of a second lead. As long as DeLello doesn't hold him up any, this should be a very interesting battle for the race win.
Oh man, you know, this 7 car, I mean, he is right on him. We haven't seen anybody catch this 81 today, and of course, the 25 is now within the camera shot of this battle. I mean, you know, it doesn't really look like the 03 is holding up to 81 at all, but I bet you he is, because everybody is catching up to the, well, I guess not everybody is catching up right now, because the 92 is almost 4 seconds behind, but, you know, he's about to have 2 cars on his bumper that are hungry for wins. And of course, one of them has a face on it that's ready to eat up some points in this race. So this is going to be quite the battle coming to the close of this race.
As long as Nikki Martinez can finish where she's at right now, she should lock up a spot in the 1-Up Nitro National Series playoffs, especially considering how Felix Anderson is still suffering at the back of the pack, a lap down. So we might as well put Anderson's playoff hopes to bed, because there's no easy way of getting your lap back in this series. So, well, Anderson, he's making the move to the Superstar Series next year, so we wish him the best of luck in that. But his hopes for a Nitro National Series championship will have to wait. As now Martinez gets around Vaughters, she's down to half a second behind the 2 leaders. This could be a 3-car battle for the win here soon, with just 10 laps to go from Bristol.
Oh my gosh, and the 7 car is right there, you know? I mean, Aaron Hall can just sniff that win, smell it, you know, just so close to being able to get the win here at Bristol and beat the guy that's led every single lap in this thing so far. But you know, it's starting to fall off now. I mean, it's completely, the pace is completely determined by Zachary DeLello right now, which is incredible that the 81 has not been able to get by. I can't believe it, but he hasn't, and that has allowed this race to tighten up a ton. And we're coming to the close of this thing. The laps are ticking by. You gotta hurry up.
Yeah, we're closing in on 5 laps left. We've got less than 10 now, and Caggiano's actually starting to stretch his lead out. It's back up to 4/10. So keep an eye out. Anything can still happen though, but at this point, a caution here would likely end the race. Although we said that last time at Darlington, and it turned out not to be the case at all. So take what we say with a grain of salt, but these laps at Bristol, of course, are much shorter, and it doesn't give much opportunity to clean up the racetrack and prepare for a 1-lap dash like we saw at Darlington.
Yeah, this is incredible right now. I mean, it really does look like the 81 has it in the bag every single time he's out front. But right now, I don't think that he's got it completely in the bag. I mean, I feel like the 7 car has something left. You know, he's got it. It's coming to the close of the race. 81 went high a little bit right there. We'll see, and there's still lap cars ahead. I mean, anything can happen. There's so few laps left, but there's still so much that can happen.
Closing in on now 3 laps to go. And look, they're coming up to lap Felix Anderson again. Put him 2 laps down. This could be critical as Keith Hughes knocks
the wall.
That's Keith Hughes in the 11. But Felix Anderson doing everything he can to keep from going a 2nd lap down. That would put the nail in the coffin for his playoff hopes. 2 laps to go from Bristol.
And now Zachary DeLello is between 1st and 2nd place, and he's solidly between. Here comes Ryan Caggiano trying to get another car between the 2. Oh man, this might be the end. This might be the end of the hopes for the 7 and the 87 right now. Both of them one trying to win, one trying to make the playoffs, and I don't think either is going to happen. This 81 car is looking really good.
Coming for 3 and 4 for the final time. He'll have led all 125 laps tonight, and Ryan Caggiano wins at his best track, Bristol Motor Speedway, to enter the playoffs with some serious momentum. Aaron Hall finishes 2nd. Nikki Martinez finishes 3rd. That should boost her into the playoffs right there. Dylan Young finishes 4th, and Alex Verget-Peru finishes 5th. That will give him the regular season championship ahead of Sam Donato, who finishes 7th behind Zach Rogers. Kevin Carter finishes 8th. Brett Bishop 9th. That'll help him make the playoffs as well. And Jared Jackson rounds out the top 10 after a slow start to the race. And with that, the 12-car field for the 1-Up Nitro National Series playoffs is set. It changed a lot in these 125 laps, but now we know the 12 names that will race for a championship come November at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Absolutely, you know, and I mean, what a race to finish it off. What a fantastic place. The perfect venue to finish off the regular season and then propel this series into the final races that'll determine who the champion is. I just love everything that's happened right now, and and congratulations to the 81 crew. I mean, they put on an absolute show today. At the end there, it was a little bit tight for the win, but in the end, led every single lap of the race and finished it off with a victory. So, boy, oh boy, that's going into the playoffs. I have no idea what's going to happen next.
We have a week off for the Nitro National Series next week while the Superstar Series begins their playoffs at Las Vegas. But in 2 weeks' time, the Nitro National Series gets their playoffs underway on the dirt at Knoxville Raceway. That'll be an incredible race to keep an eye on in the race for the championship, and we hope you'll join us for that as well. It'll be one of a kind race, the only one on dirt across the 2 series for 2021. We hope you'll join us for that as well. So from Duke and Zach and from myself as well, we're going to say goodbye to the regular season at Bristol Motor Speedway. Congratulations to Ryan Caggiano. He put on a clinic at Bristol. He wins at the regular season finale and builds some huge momentum going into the one-up Nitro National Series playoffs.